What is up, everyone? Crunchy Frog here, and today we are going to break down everything arriving in Season 5 of Modern Warfare 3. Now, as of the day of recording this, this is currently launch day, so everything just came out. It is July 24th. 2024, and everything is brand new and fresh. So today what we're going to do is basically just run down through the patch notes blog post that Activision posted, the Call of Duty posted there, and go over all of the major points for this season. Now obviously we will not be delving into any of the Warzone changes. That's just not something we cover here on this channel, and not going to delve in too deep to zombies or anything like that, but we'll cover all the major things coming in this season. Now in the background, you will see footage from my recent live stream that I actually recorded right before I started cutting this commentary. So you'll see some of the new maps as well as I'll have, and it'll be labeled as such so you guys don't think I'm reverse boosting or cheating or anything, but there will be some bot gameplay where I just show off the new weapons. Obviously you can't get the weapons until further into the battle pass and stuff like that, so I just went to a private match and had some fun with them so you can kind of see how they play and how powerful or not powerful they are. So again, those will be labeled so you don't think I'm pub stomping or reverse boosting anything. They were just recruit bots, so nothing too crazy. I just want to show off the weapons. So yeah, all of that will be playing in the background. And a shameless plug, if you would like to see me live, make sure you are subscribed. I try to stream on this channel at least once a week, as well as once on my Twitch channel over on Twitch at Crunchy Frog as well. So yeah, as always guys, I'm just going to hit the major points as we go through here and give my thoughts on everything, especially after having played with it all for about 2.5 hours. If you would like to see the full kind of rundown of everything coming with this update, I will be linking both the kind of content blog that they put out about a week ago, as well as the patch notes blog, so you can read through everything at your own speed and kind of see everything that I missed or just didn't feel like covering for this video. So with that out of the way, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. It helps so many people find this channel as we try to get to 1,000 subscribers. And if you would like to support the channel monetarily, make sure to click that join button down below. It helps out more than you know, and you get fun perks like getting to see all these videos a day or so early. So with that all out of the way, let's get right into it. So the biggest thing that's obviously coming with this season are new maps, right? We cover this every single season, and this time there are only 2, although there are some variants as well. So if you count those as new maps, there's a total of 5 new maps coming. But if we're talking just strictly brand new maps, unfortunately there is only 2. And the first of which is called Bait, and the little blurb about it says, catch some rays in the Sunshine State in the mid-sized map Bait. So again, this is kind of like a seaside map. You'll see some gameplay of it in the background here from my stream. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a beautiful map, especially like the out of bounds areas were very richly detailed. Really cool map. I like the theme of it. It plays pretty well. Obviously, I'd need a couple more hours of gameplay behind the wheel to give my full thoughts on it. But overall, just from a very, beginner's perspective, I really enjoyed it, and I think it'll be a nice addition to the game. Next up is Yard. Now, this will be kind of controversial, and honestly, I'm kind of mixed on it myself. But the blurb about that is crush your enemies in a dusty junkyard out in the Sonoran Desert. Now, what it does not highlight is the fact that this is a cell shaded map, which for those of you that don't know, cell shaded is kind of the art style where everything's outlined. It kind of looks cartoony or comic book style. Think of the Borderlands series, right? Borderlands is one of the most popular cell shaded video games, pieces of entertainment, really. So if you're wondering what cell shaded means, if you've never seen, or anything like that, just think Borderlands. And to be honest, I'm going to have an entire video where I kind of break down how I feel about this, as well as some other stuff that COD has been introducing lately that kind of mixes stuff up. It's new. It's a shock to the system. Definitely. It's like an interesting experience. It's kind of a big theme, and we'll get into more later of this season, though, as the cell shading. I think there's going to be bundles and, different things like that, as well as, just a lot of cell shading, and it's kind of weird. They're just, I think, running out of ways to innovate the Call of Duty franchise, so they're grasping at anything and everything. But the map plays super cool, or plays super well rather, and it does kind of look cool. Again, I'll go into my full thoughts on that. I have another script I'm writing up for kind of my thoughts on the whole cell shaded gimmick here. But yeah, so those are the two brand new maps, right? Those are new maps that are not remakes or reskins or anything. And then there's also three cell shaded variants of existing maps. First one, Cell Ship. Obviously, it's shipment, right? But again, in that cell shaded art style. I did not play on that yet. I'm not sure if that's in the game already or if that's in season. I'm not too sure. Regardless, I have not played on it yet, but it's just shipment with a different art style. Toon Oxide is is the next one, which is a nighttime variant of Rust, which is pretty cool. And then again, cell shaded, so that it is a little bit different, and everything kind of looks like Borderlands. To be completely honest, I know I keep going back to that, but that was my first thought, and really only thought the entire time I was playing these maps. And then finally, Ink House, which is just Stash House but cell shaded. So again, I think there's going to be a playlist, stuff like that, highlighting these cell shaded variants of maps. And I know there's bundles with weapons and character models that are also cell shaded, so that's just kind of a gimmick that they're doing for this season. Now, next up, the next kind of theme or big, kind of connecting point for this season is the WWE crossover, right? Almost every season they find a way to do a pop culture crossover or tie-in or collaboration, and this time is WWE. So with that, some of the new modes that are coming to the game are all WWE themed. So there's Slam Deathmatch, which it just says land epic WWE themed wrestling moves to score for your team. Not sure what that means. We'll have to check that out as it comes into play. There's Arcade, which basically says power weapons are placed in each map and players drop powerful pickups on death. Use these to compete in a mosh pit of modes. Kind of sounds like hardcore or old school mode rather, from like Call of Duty 4 and games like that. But with a couple twists to it. There's COD Warrior, which basically is three teams that all compete in little mini games. Now, in the season 5 content drop blog post, it kind of goes into detail of like all 20 of these mini games that they added. We're not going to go into detail on that here. They don't talk about it much in the blog post. Suffice to say, there's like 20 different mini games that you play, and I'm assuming it's almost like a Mario Party type deal, right, where you have to win X amount of those mini games for your team to win. Next up is Fish Infection, which it just says in eliminated survivors become infected fish. Infect everyone or survive the game to win. So this sounds just like Infection, but with goofy visuals. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any pictures or any elaboration of this. Again, they might have more details on the content drop blog post, but yeah, it just seems like another iteration of Infected. Next up is Paintball. And basically paintball, weapons, and ammunition with enhanced sliding movements. Defeat the enemy team. All weapons are one-shot kills. So that sounds pretty cool, and honestly, I kind of want to play that. Now, that says in season, so I'm assuming it's not available at launch. But, it'll be maybe Season 5 Reloaded or, just a couple weeks into the season. Next up is Defuse or Destroy. Defend or destroy the objective, no respawning. So I'm guessing it's kind of like Demolition, but without respawning. Just reading that one sentence descriptor, so kind of just sounds like an iteration of Demolition. Next up, we have Cyber Attack, which, again, this is a COD game mode that has been in previous games. They're bringing it back. Basically, you just retrieve the EMP device and plant it near the enemy's data center. Sounds kind of... I've never played Cyber Attack, even in the older games. I'm kind of a vanilla guy. I just played Domination, Kill Confirm, Team Deathmatch, stuff like that. But from my understanding, it was similar to Sabotage from the old classic Call of Duties. Now, I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that, but that's just kind of what I've heard from other people. So that's kind of what to expect there. If you've played it in previous games, sounds like it'll be returning exactly the way you remember it. Now, next up, we've talked about the maps, the modes. The next biggest thing that is always added with a new season are, of course, new weapons. Now, this time they brought back one of my favorites, which is the STG, which is an assault rifle. Obviously, it is a World War II assault rifle, but this time it's very modernized. You'll see some gameplay of it again, some bot gameplay of it, where I was able to go into a private match and fool around with it. It's pretty cool, a lot of recoil. You know, it is the first, quote unquote, first assault rifle that was used back in World War II. Fully automatic, hard hitting primary weapon, everything like that. A lot more recoil than the Vanguard version, which was Sledgehammer's last game, and obviously completely redesigned to make it look brand new and modern. It doesn't look like it was pulled right off of, the battlefields of Europe from World War II. It definitely is like a modern take on it. Looks really cool. I enjoyed using it. Obviously, I'd have to play around with attachments to really get a feel for it, but I enjoyed my time with it. Even though it was just up against bots, it still felt like a fun gun to use, and the Battle Pass variants look kind of cool, especially the Black Cell variant, which you guys know how I feel about the Black Cell, but the Black Cell variant of the STG does sadly look pretty badass. I'm ashamed to admit. Next up is the Static HV, which I'm assuming is meant to sound like Static Shiv from League of Legends. But regardless, maybe that's just a line that I'm drawing that isn't actually there. Regardless, it is a submachine gun. To me, it kind of reminded me of the PDW. It has a 50-round mag. It's kind of a small, compact SMG, high fire rate, stuff like that. I enjoyed the hell out of this thing, and I got killed by it several times, especially a store variant of it, which, you know how that goes. Store variants are always somehow better than every weapon that you use that was free. But regardless, really fun gun to use. You'll actually see a DNA bomb or nuke gameplay of it probably in here somewhere. Again, against bots, but, it was just so fun to use that I really enjoyed my time with it. I can't wait to unlock it, whether it be through the Battle Pass or if I don't play this season enough through challenges later on. And next up, now this will be obviously during the season with the Week 5 challenges, but the Torque 35, which is technically a launcher, but it's a combat-ready compound bow with it's basically just a bow. I'm assuming there's certain type. It does say there's certain type of arrows here, and they are retrievable after being fired. I'm assuming there's going to be an explosive one, a shock one. You know how they've done that in past CODs. They're just kind of going back to the graveyard, so to speak, to pull old ideas from older CODs. But regardless, there will be a bow now in Modern Warfare 3. Finally, and this fits with one of the other underlying themes that seems to be in the Battle Pass, is kind of the Roman gladiator aesthetic or ancient warrior aesthetic of some of the Battle Pass stuff. And so they're bringing back the spear. Now, again, this is kind of modernized and looks more like a, Modern Warfare, tactical gear type thing. It doesn't look like an ancient Greek spear, really. But yeah, so that is the new melee weapon for the season. You guys know my take on melee weapons. I don't use them. I don't care about them. But if that is your thing, you are getting that, and that will be in season. So the bow and the spear are in season, so probably Season 5 Reloaded content, whereas the two weapons are available at launch through the Battle Pass. So that rounds out the 4 new weapons that are added to the game. Now, next up, of course, almost another slate of weapons that they add to the game every time is the brand new aftermarket parts that completely changed the weapon that they are attached to, effectively turning it into a different weapon or turning it into something crazy. And this time around, the first thing up is the Jack Widemouth Barrel, which fits to the MORS or Moors sniper rifle. And this is available via the Week 1 weekly challenges. Basically, it fires a magnetic ball bearings that shatter upon firing, creating a barrage of small and lethal projectiles. So kind of like a blunderbuss type deal. I know some people were talking on Twitter calling it the new blunderbuss. And again, that is an attachment for the Moore sniper rifle. Next up, we have the Jack Cataclysm, which is for the RPK light machine gun. And basically it's a 50 cal conversion kit. So obviously slower firing to, kind of balance that out. but high capacity drum mag. Yeah, just a 50 cal machine gun, super badass to have in a game. Actually kind of want to unlock that and try that out. Again, available via the week 2 weekly challenges. Next up, we have the Jack Slash, which is an underbarrel vertical grip that doubles as a combat knife, replacing your melee attack with a lethal slash. So basically just a tack knife, if you remember from back in the day in Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, stuff like that, the tactical knife attachment. That's really what this is, and I'm not sure what weapon this is for. I think this goes on multiple weapons because it's just an attachment. And so yeah, that'll be available in week 3 through the challenge menu. Next up, we have the Jack Protein, which is available on the Raw MG light machine gun, which I believe was a Modern Warfare 2 weapon, if I remember correctly. And this conversion kit turns the Raw into a highly adaptable prototype weapon with a telescoping barrel that can be toggled between full auto and semi-auto fire, offering suppressive fire and precision in the same weapon. Interesting. Now, again, I'd have to see what this does in-game to fully get a grasp on it, but at the outset, it sounds really interesting, especially for the Raw, which was just a bear of a weapon. And I know I said that was Modern Warfare 2. I'm starting to second-guess myself and say that that was maybe a Modern Warfare 3 weapon. I don't even remember at this point. With carry forward, everything has just turned into one just mush in my brain. So I apologize. Feel free to call me out in the comment section if I'm horribly off base here. Next up, we have the Jack Death March, which is for the Battle 27, which was introduced a season or 2 ago. And again, this will be the week 6 challenge. Aftermarket part that replaces standard ammo with high voltage power cells, and the barrel with a photonic scatter barrel. Fire a spread of lethal laser blasts, take down enemies at short range. So turns it into a laser shotgun essentially, which we're not even going to get into it right now. That's a whole nother video, but COD has strayed very far from what it originally started out as. That's all I'm going to say on that front, but it sounds interesting at the very least. Next up, and finally, the last aftermarket part is the Jack Devastators, which is for the Reclaimer 18 shotgun. And basically it's akimbo, right? Dual-wield Reclaimer 18 shotguns and become a mobile artillery barrage with this aftermarket part. So yeah, just an akimbo attachment for the Reclaimer, which off the top of my head, I kind of forget which one the Reclaimer 18 is. I want to say that's the Spaz 12 from last season, but I could be wrong on that. Either way, it's just an akimbo attachment for another shotgun. Hopefully not as overpowered as they were back in the day. So that about rounds it out for all the aftermarket parts. I always find those really interesting because they do really change the game. I think it was one of the things in Call of Duty that's very interesting. Sometimes they get a little too over the rails, or off the rails rather for my taste, but overall still pretty cool stuff. They've also added an EMP grenade, and that is the new equipment that was added this season. And then obviously a whole bunch of new operators. They've added a couple of WWE stars, so Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio, and obviously Rhea Ripley is, you know, the big members that they've added. At least those are the WWE ones that I recognize. They've also added Ivan, which I think is one of Makarov's men, as well as Reckoner. So I'm not sure what that is. It doesn't really, you know, explain, but I think it is a Black Cell operator again. And then it doesn't even mention it here unless I passed it up, which I don't think I have. But it doesn't even mention, but Valeria's back. Now, I guess since Valeria was in the last game with carryover, I guess she's technically been here since day one, but they're bringing a bunch more skins for her. Which, of course, that's Cartel Mommy. That's, you know, the greatest operator to ever live. So that works well, bringing her back and putting her in the limelight once again. So that about rounds it out for the operators. Obviously, you know how that goes. There's going to be 500 million store bundles and everything like that. I've already seen some of them start to leak onto the Twitter timeline as well. And they all look kind of crazy and cool, admittedly, but you know, always expensive and never fitting any kind of theme for the actual game. But again, different thoughts for different videos. And then next up are some of the events that are coming. So there's WWE SummerSlam. Again, these are just like the same type of events that we've seen in the past. It doesn't go into too much detail, so I'm just going to kind of read off all of the different events. So that'll be from the 31st to the 7th. The next event will be from the August 7th to the 14th, and that's called Conquest. Then next we have Echo Endo Live, which is the 14th through 21st, and Battle Beasts, the 21st through 28th, followed by Emotional Overdrive from September 12th to September 18th. So again, not too much information is given here in the patch notes. I'm sure the Season 5 content drop goes a little more into detail. If you'd like to see that, make sure to click those links in the description, and you can read all this in much finer detail. They have added new prestiges, so now it's up to Prestige 21 or level 1050. So yeah, that's crazy. They've also added a new animated weapon prestige camo, that you can unlock at 250,000 weapon XP. And I've seen some pictures of it. It's not too crazy, honestly. The first two, prestige camos were, in my mind, cooler. But either way, they're giving you more stuff, rewarding you for using your favorite weapons, and I think that's really cool. At the end of the day, it's a nice way to grind. It's a fun thing to add. A nice goalpost to add to the end of your grind. If you're one of those players that don't care about any of the new weapons, you just like using what you like using, this gives you an option to still cash in, to still feel like you're earning and working towards something. So once again, kudos to Sledgehammer for looking out for us and giving us something extra to grind for, and something beyond just the interstellar grind and everything like that. Next up, we have just basically all of the fixes and changes. So I'm not going to read through all of these. Obviously, I'll touch on some of the bigger ones that I've seen. But obviously you can read through this at your leisure. There's just a whole bunch various fixes, optimizations, blah, 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 blah. One of the bigger things is they've increased the limit of track challenges. Again, we talked a couple videos back about how track challenges being added is massive. I've been asking for this for like 4 or 5 years now, and they've doubled down and made it even better. Now you can have even more challenges to track from your in-game menu. They've also improved the flow of interacting with an empty slot and player list while in private matches. So just tweaking some UI things. And then there's obviously a whole bunch of bug fixes there. Some bug fixes for random operator voice lines, stuff like that. Some fixes to maps. Obviously a whole slate of weapon debuffs, weapon buffs, weapon nerfs, everything in between. Just a crazy amount of those. They have a whole slew of different things that they've added or removed or whatever from the various perks. Again, check out the patch notes in the description to see everything that they've done there. Some big things I did want to touch on in the kill streak section. Score earned via kill streaks no longer contributes towards earning the next available kill streak. So that kind of takes away how it was back in the day where, you would get a Predator missile and that would get you some kills towards your Harrier or your Pavlo and then, towards your nuke or whatever streaks you used to run back in the day. They've now turned that off. So again, it's just only guns, back to only guns. I thought it was that way on launch. I could be wrong. Either way, that's how it is now. Strictly guns. Your streaks cannot help your current streak, if that makes any sense. They did listen to player feedback, though. I guess they were thinking about removing killstreak looping. They've stopped that. You can now loop kill streaks again. So if you get to the end of your kill streak, guess what? You keep killing. You'll start back over with your first kill streak and on and on and on. They've also kind of switched back up. I think one of the season 4 gimmicks was that it was now a DNA bomb. I think they've changed that back to the MGB or the nuke, essentially. Although I will say, and you guys might even see it in the background, whenever I did my private match to test out the new SMG, I did end up getting a nuke, like a 25 kill streak, but it was still a DNA bomb. So I'm not too sure when that change goes into effect, or maybe it's only for public matches. I'm really not sure. But yeah, I got a nuke, and suffice to say, it wasn't a nuke. It was just a DNA bomb. It even told me I had a DNA bomb and everything. So yeah, I'm really not sure. And then obviously there's some fixes for zombies. I didn't go into too much zombie detail in this video just because the patch notes really don't talk about it. But they do, I think this is the final new story mission and everything for zombies. And there's a couple minor changes with it as well. But, you know, obviously there's a whole bunch of fixes and gameplay fixes and, you know, little nerfs and buffs and issues like that. So that about rounds it out for all of the, you know, the patch notes that they gave. So all of the major changes coming with Season 5. Overall, maybe a little lacking. They're kind of, you know, crawling towards the finish line. I know that X Defiant took a little bit of the population from the game, including myself. So, you know, the game's not as hot as it was the last couple of seasons. But again, they're still paying a lot of attention to 6v6 multiplayer, which I love to see. The new maps are very cool. The new cell shaded gimmick, I don't know how I feel about it. Like I said, I'm kind of putting together a script to talk about that. That'll be a little bit shorter video. It won't be a long video essay like a lot of my videos are. But so yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. The new weapons both feel very good. I love that they brought the STG back. I was super happy to see that. And yeah, overall, it's just kind of a okay season. It's a decent season. If you're really into WWE, which I'm not, like I don't hate wrestling, but I'm not super into it. But if you're super into WWE, you'll love it. There's a lot here for you. There's a lot more event focused stuff, you know, a lot more live servicey things with this season. So if you're into that sort of stuff, if you play on a daily or weekly basis, and you can kind of cash in on that type of stuff, a lot of that, you know, FOMO stuff where it's, you know, you either play it or you'll never see it again. Yeah, you know, hey, you'll really enjoy a lot of this stuff. But yeah, unfortunately for me, with so many other games out and it being summertime and me being busy, especially with car shows, stuff like that, I don't know how much I can play a lot of these limited time things. So kind of takes away from the value of the season for me. But overall, I'm still pleased with the offering, and I definitely see myself playing a little bit more than I have been, and maybe splitting the playtime between X Defiant and Season 5 here of Modern Warfare 3. And finally, I can't believe I didn't say this at the beginning, but Modern Warfare 3 is now available on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, if you have waited this long and have not bought Modern Warfare 3, you now get it for free. So make sure to scoop that up or even just try it out. It's worth it. Like I said in my review, it's not the greatest COD of all time, but it is enjoyable and it does a lot of things right. And especially with the post-launch support, the game is really a content-rich experience nowadays. And yeah, I mean, for free, you're already paying for Game Pass. The game's free. Hop in, check it out. As long as your hard drive can survive a 200 plus gig download, I strongly recommend at least seeing if you enjoyed. So that about rounds it out for today, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. If you'd like to see more content like this for both X Defiant and everything Call of Duty, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And until the next time, guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace.